Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo, and it's great to be on this show where we discuss all things books. Today we've got a book that will get you thinking. You know, all of us are born, and then one day, every single one of us, bye-bye. It happens to all men. That is the destiny of mankind. We are born, and then we leave one day. We just don't know when. Nobody knows when he or she is leaving the scene. But what we do with the time given to us in between being born and dying is crucial. A lot of people live life without actually living life. One wise man once said that all men die, but not all men live. That's very deep. And we need to live our lives in such a way that we live our talents, we live our gifts, we leave everything God has given to us, we leave them on the table, so to speak. By the time we are going away, we put everything down and we use them to bless the lives of other people. Well, let me not talk much. This book, titled An Unfinished Life, by a gentleman I simply like to call Obinna. No long stories. Obinna, just a fantastic gentleman. This is his second book that we are featuring on the show. Remember, we had him as a guest on the show once where he discussed his first book. Well, he's churned out the second one, titled An Unfinished Life. One thing you will never have is more time. You can have everything, but you're not going to have more time. I'm not going to have more time. As the clock ticks away, our lives tick away. So let's get serious and let's do something with our lives in such a way that by the time we are going, we would have impacted our world very positively. Let's get to meet with Obinna and then explore his work.
Onwuelingo is a life coach, public speaker, financial analyst, commercial banker, and author of 2 books. Onwuelingo has over 14 years of experience across the aviation and financial services industry. As a trained life and emotional intelligence coach, Onwuelingo offers courses on sales, emotional intelligence, critical reasoning, public speaking, leadership, and neuro-linguistic programming. He joins Channels Book Club to discuss his most recent book,
Obinna, nice to have you on Channels Book Club.
Thank you so much.
Again.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be home.
This is your third one. Well done. You keep churning them out.
Thank you so much.
And I have to say that this one is really inspiring. Your other 2 books, fantastic. But I think maybe you reserve the best for the third.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. An Unfinished Life. Obinna, this is not flattery. This is really inspiring. And I think everybody should read this book because it's deep.
It is.
If you ask me to summarize it in one word, I would say deep. It's really deep. It gets you thinking. It got me thinking about life, about the way we use time, about the way we, our paradigm of life, you know, our values and what we should prioritize. But I'll allow you to introduce An Unfinished Life. What inspired it and what will readers find in this book?
Thank you so much. So let me use the opening quote in the book, to drive this point home. It's a quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes, and he said that many people die with their music still in them. Why is this so? Too often it is because they are always getting ready to leave, and before they know it, time is up. Now, An Unfinished Life is about regret minimization.
Regret
minimization.
Minimizing regrets.
Exactly. A lot of people are going to die with regrets. What usually happens is that at the end of our lives, possibly, that final hour, we have 3 major things that we regret. Number 1, we wish we had led an authentic life, living our dreams, being ourselves. Number 2, we wish we had pursued, taken our health more seriously. And third, we wish we had, not pursued career at the expense of our family, right? And then if you also look at, juxtapose this with what Ryan Holiday said, that many of us, work so hard going after things we don't like, okay, to prove ourselves to people we don't respect, and to get things we don't want.
Wow.
So you notice that at the end of, if you have ever interviewed people who have actually, taken care of the terminally ill and caregivers who have worked in hospices, you find out that this is actually what most people regret at the end of time. So an unfinished life tells you things you need to do so that you don't get to start regretting at the end of time, so that you can have a finished life rather than an unfinished life. So that's what what are the things that shorten our lives? This book will tell you about those things, and what can we do such that at the end of the time we'll have a fulfilled and finished life.
Obina, you don't pull punches here in this book. You've not tried to be nice and try to say all the sweet things. At times, I felt, reading some parts of it, I felt like it's dark. But it's reality.
Absolutely.
I mean, you talk about death here, so, I mean, you're talking about any other subject. And that is supposed to be the way things should be. We should talk about death as much as we talk about life.
True.
That's just the reality.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things that you try to explain in this book is that at the end of the day, everybody dies. So why not live your life in such a way that when your time has come, it's going to be glorious?
Absolutely.
I think that's one of your messages
absolutely.
in the book, right?
So what I'm saying in the book is, life is like a melting ice, okay? There is nothing you can do to stop it from melting.
But my favorite of your, sorry to interrupt you, my favorite of your illustrations about life here is the battery.
Yeah, using the battery as an analogy, every battery has a lifespan, right? Though there are things that you can do to extend the lifespan, and there are other things that you can also do to shorten the lifespan. But eventually, there comes a day when it runs out.
It runs out.
Right? So the point we are trying to make is, no matter what you do, no matter all those things you put around you, like the sleep pattern, the kind of work you do and all that stress, how you minimize stress, a day comes when even the best life support machine becomes abundantly useless. So how are we prepared for this? I was saying, what I even advise people, write your obituary today and actually read what it sounds like. If you're going to have any regrets as you're writing your obituary, it gives you an opportunity to reflect backward to say, how do I begin to, correct some of the things that I will regret in the future? Because that day will finally come. That is what this book is all about.
Are you concerned your book could be interpreted as too serious?
No, so...
or that's the idea?
That's actually the idea. So there was a part in the book that I said, be serious, but don't take life so seriously.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay?
Yeah, don't take life so seriously, and don't take yourself so seriously.
Don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
But the message I'm trying to pass on is that one thing you will never have is more time.
More time. One thing you never have.
Stay present. Postpone nothing. Bring forth your best. That's the message. It's simple. We postpone death a lot. And the moment you postpone death, you postpone living. Because you cannot selectively numb one emotion without numbing the rest. Okay? So death is not something that is in the future. It lives with us, as in it can happen at any moment. Yeah. So the best advice is for you to live in the moment. Focus on now. Do not think about tomorrow. The truth, what people don't understand is, if you take care of now, you would have also been taking care of tomorrow. Because it is what you do now that determines what your tomorrow is going to look like. But most times we don't focus on that. We are thinking about tomorrow and not focusing on now.
Ubina, your book is so explosive. I think it is great injustice, if I may use the word, for us to give you such a short time. But there are many parts of your book that bring a balance, and make a reader think very deeply. For example, work, where you explain that, look, People go to work with their shoes, with their clothes, so they almost live in the office, and where you explain that you have resigned from 4 different jobs.
Absolutely.
And walked away. I liked that part because it made me think about work. And you were basically trying to say, do the kind of work that gives you fulfillment and is relevant to you as an individual, not work that makes you lose your freedom, right?
Absolutely.
That's one of the things you say.
Yeah, that's true. So what that part is saying is also taking us back to the quote by Franz Kafka, who said, I was ashamed of myself when I realized that life was a costume party and I attended with my real face. A lot of people go about not being themselves. Okay, at work you do a work, and at the end of the day you are filled with regrets because you couldn't express yourself. You are trying to impress someone, right? The bosses and all that. So what we are preaching is do something that brings you fulfillment. Because at the end of the day, 3 questions matter. Have I lived well? Have I served well? Have I loved? So if you can't answer these questions in affirmative, then there's a problem. That's why the book is about regret minimization. How do you minimize regrets? So whatever work you are doing, and that topic actually speaks to Carpe Diem, to pluck the day, to know that you move on in life being free of any entanglements, trying to impress someone. There's something we call what's it called? Being so much spotlight effect. When you think that a lot of people are looking at you, and because of that you are caging yourself.
Meanwhile, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. People have problems. So be yourself. Live your best life. Because at the end of the day, it is not all the wealth that you have amassed that will give you so much joy. It is the fact that you actually lived your life the way you are. People got to interact with the real you. Be vulnerable. That is to tell your story from your heart, the story of who you are from your heart.
You also write about how life takes away our childhood. We forget to be. Children are born with so much joy and peace and freedom and talent. But with time, those things are taken away by adults. And you gave your own personal example with your own child when you nearly. Yeah. So can you share a bit of that?
Yeah. So what usually happens is, as children, we have this sense of adventure, sense of wonder. We want to try out things.
Ask questions.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
We are curious. We want to know. But as we get into, adolescence, everybody, don't do that, don't go there. The society says this, your parents said this and all that, and we begin to minimize a lot of things. We're not curious anymore. We're not asking questions. We lose our sense of adventure. You don't want to lose your job. You don't want to lose this. You don't want to lose friends. You become someone else. Masks everywhere. We wear a lot of masks simply because we want to be loved by everybody. We lose our sense of adventure. And I said this is pure victimhood, right? We become, victims of what the society has turned us into. We want people to, be regimented, to be pigeonholed into a certain kind of lifestyle. And the moment you don't fall into that, lifestyle that has been created by the world.
Yeah, seen as a rebel or a problem or a
deviant or something.
Black sheep or something.
Black sheep.
Different names.
And this is what people now regret at the end of time. The fact that they were not able to show their true selves. And regret now comes. At that point, it's too late. So we're saying to you today, now that you have the time, be who you are meant to be. Everybody has a different calling, right? So we're not privy to each other's, when we receive that purpose from God. And you know yours, discover it, and you run with it. When you say, when the path before you is straight, probably you're walking on someone else's path, because you're meant to discover your own path, with all the detours, all the problems, all the issues, and then you get to discover life and live life to the fullest. So it's not, one trying to become someone else, but actually trying to be your true self, who you have been created to be. So that's what that particular chapter is talking about.
You wrote here, page 23, I think we started cutting our life short when we decided to play it safe. When we allowed ourselves to be sold the lie that to make it in life, we must get too serious. And this is why I said you have a balance here. On the one hand, you're talking about death. You're talking about balancing your account before you sleep. Like, that's so heavy. But on the other hand, you're also writing here that we started cutting our life short when we decided to play it safe, when we allowed ourselves to be sold the lie that to make it in life, we must get too serious.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
A very, very simple example. We hear it all the time. Our parents told us that if you're not serious, you can't make it in life.
If you're not serious, oh yeah, we had that.
Everybody had it. And we internalized it so much that we became...
Too serious.
Yes. I think it's called puritanistic. If it's not difficult,
it's not successful.
If it's not so hard, there is no value.
No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. So we want to kill ourselves to justify. So most times you see us self-sabotaging simply because there was no pain involved in the process. But that's not true. And that's why I said, when we started taking life so seriously, most of us find it difficult to even play. They say it's for children. Who said so? When you play too much, they tell you why you acting like a child.
Obina, do you play?
I do.
Because you sound like a guy who's always marking his scripts.
But you have to make time to play.
Checking whether it's ready to pass on.
You have to make time.
Just joking.
To play. I understand.
Oh, yeah.
With the children, with friends,
absolutely.
With what you even call adversity.
So that's part of, I wouldn't say traveling life. That's part of finishing life.
Absolutely.
If I may use your phrase.
To achieve a finished life. In fact, towards the end of the book, I said, pray and play. While at it, pray, play.
Pray and play. Okay. You also said here, we must learn to give ourselves a permission to feel something new. We must shift our minds to accept that we are destined for the good things of life by overcoming our own upper limits.
Absolutely. Some of us have what we call, limits. For instance, something happens to you, you believe that you are not worthy to have that thing. Some of us can't be happy beyond a certain threshold. Something will remind you that you're not worthy. How did you get this? Of everybody in the world, why you? And we don't want to even share the good news. They say, keep quiet, don't say it so loud. You are worthy. Everything in life is here to help you. The odds are in your favor. So enjoy life. There is abundance everywhere. Whatever anybody has, you can have. There is abundance everywhere. All you need to do is to key into, the frame of mind, because most times our problem is in the mind. When you have told yourself that you're not worthy, you can't have it. There is no way you can have it, because what we think about and what we bring about is one and the same. No exceptions.
Wow, Obina. These are just teasers. There's so much packed in there in this book. I'm sure I'll be recommending it a lot. So
thank you.
Many people, especially young people.
Thank you.
These are very important principles of life. Thank you very much for sharing this pearls of wisdom. Thank you for writing, and keep writing. You really do write very well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks for joining us on Channels Book Club once again. We hope to have you back.
It's always good to be here. I enjoy coming here.
Always great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That book is loaded. What we just discussed does not do justice to it at all. So much gems, so much wisdom packed in Obina's book. Get yourself a copy, read it, and let's know what you think about it or how it's transforming your life. Before we end the show today, let's take a reading from an author that is truly inspiring. He's reading from his book, which is a collection of poems, which we are going to feature on the show very soon. Look out for it. But he's a multi-talented poet, writer, etc. You'll get to meet with him very soon on the show. But let him just read from his collection of poems and offer us a teaser. Well, before he read, he showed us how multi-talented he is. You'll see that right now. Enjoy this.
Good day, everyone. My name is Adeparusi, and I'm happy and excited to introduce my new book titled The Throw of a Lemon. It's truly a pleasure to be here to share a piece of my world through poetry. A throw of a lemon is an invitation and exploration of faith, resilience, and the small, seemingly mundane moments that shape our existence. For example, a lemon in many cultures symbolizes bitterness, sharpness, sometimes even unexpected sweetness, and that is what this book captures. The delicate balance between hardship and hope, between loss and survival, between memory and transformation. These poems were a tapestry of my lived experiences and, of course, my fleeting thoughts, my deep reflections on the world around me and as it appears to my senses. They speak of love, loss, displacement, nostalgia, and the quiet revolutions of the human spirit. Some verses will whisper, others will sting, but all of them aim to resonate in the chambers of human emotion. I would love to read or to share with you a poem that embodies this essence, and then that we will take in from page 5 of the book, and is a poem titled The 16-Year-Old Boy in Me. The early days of my knowing were a dark phase. Knowledge and assimilation were a great challenge. I feared that life staring me in the face. I had questions. Oh, how I hated my challenge. Evenings were spent in a room where candles were burnt. Yes, Dad had converted it. It's now called the library. Old books arranged on dusty shelves, including his diaries. Among them were encyclopedias, but nothing was learned. Only the photos of those beautiful countries helped my view. Learning was hard, comprehending practically impossible, but Dad continued to work on my worldview. Suddenly, impossibility became possible. Light gained penetration into my head, and knowledge was birthed. Now I read till late in the night, even in my bed, enjoying the new me, because Dad gave me a lead. A new life began on the inside. My imagination gave my mind expression. And ever since, I never left my dad's side. But for him, I would never overcome that depression. This is the story of that 16-year-old boy in me. This was composed when I was 16 years old, while reflecting on my past academic struggle. This was 1989. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed A Throw of a Lemon, 50 years of life, love, and learning. Thank you. God bless you.
Like I said, we'll certainly be having Tunde on this show very soon. Very soon. So stay glued to your screen and keep tab on Channel's Book Club. This is where we have to end the show today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Onwuelingo Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.